A black couple's peaceful breakfast in their new dream home turns into chaos when a white woman, Karen, walks through their back door and accuses them of being squatters in her mother's house. She calls 911, fabricating a story that they're armed intruders. Police confirm the deed proves ownership and send her away, but she threatens, "This isn't over." It wasn't. Karen launches a campaign of harassment, sending fake legal threats, tanking the husband's business with bogus reviews, and even vandalizing their home. The couple uncovers the truth. She's the estranged daughter of the previous owner, disinherited for fraud. Caught on camera, she's arrested, but escalates again, filing bogus preservation claims, then faking her own disappearance to frame the couple for murder. The shocking twist? Police bust a loan shark's warehouse and find Karen alive, counting cash. Her scheme collapses, and she's sentenced to prison. In the aftermath, her mother pays off the couple's mortgage and apology. Finally, they reclaim their home as a sanctuary, turning years of hate into lasting peace. It was a beautiful morning, the sun shining bright and birds chirping in the trees. The couple, Keiko Kuroi and Sarah, had just finished their peaceful breakfast on their new dream home's sprawling kitchen table when they heard footsteps outside their door. Sarah turned to look out the window at the house's lush backyard filled with blooming flowers and a small pond where ducks swam nearby. She couldn't help but smile as she saw her husband, Keiko Kuroi, walking towards her from his room on the second floor. "Good morning, love," he greeted her, taking off his jacket and giving her a warm hug before heading to the kitchen for their usual cup of coffee. The scent of freshly brewed Java filled the air, transporting them back to simpler times when they were just starting out in life together. As Keiko Kuroi turned on the oven to start cooking breakfast favorites like pancakes and eggs, Sarah looked over at him with a raised eyebrow. "Did you forget about me?" she asked, her voice laced with a hint of anger. Keiko Kuroi's expression softened slightly as he realized that his wife was upset because they'd just started their new life together in this dream home without any privacy or security measures. He quickly added, "I'm sorry for forgetting, Sarah. I didn't mean to cause you any trouble." Sarah sighed and shook her head before turning back to the kitchen counter with a determined look on her face. "You can make breakfast now," she said, gesturing toward Keiko Kuroi's plate of bacon, eggs, and pancakes. Keiko Kuroi nodded in agreement as he began assembling their meal, while Sarah continued clearing the countertops and organizing dishes. She couldn't help but feel grateful for this new chapter they were embarking upon together, knowing that her husband was always there to support her through thick and thin. As Keiko Kuroi's cooking took longer than usual due to his need to prepare breakfast for the neighborhood, he glanced out at the backyard again, admiring the beautiful flowers and pond. He couldn't help but feel a sense of peace wash over him as he savored every bite of their delicious meal, knowing that this was the start of a new life filled with love and happiness. Just when they were about to finish cooking, Keiko Kuroi heard a loud noise coming from outside the kitchen door. He froze in place, his heart pounding in his chest as he listened intently. Sarah's voice boomed through the window. "Karen, get out of here." Keiko Kuroi turned around quickly, his eyes wide with surprise and concern. "What are you doing?" "Karen," he demanded, feeling a mix of fear and relief at her sudden appearance. Karen walked past Keiko Kuroi, her face contorted in rage as she glared down at him with cold eyes. She snarled, "You're not the ones who should be living here. You're squatters, just like your mother." Keiko Kuroi felt his blood boil as he realized that their dream home was now a target for Karen's wrath and deception. He knew they needed to defend themselves against her accusations of squatting in their mother's house. Without hesitation, Keiko Kuroi grabbed the nearest weapon from the kitchen cabinets and approached the door with determination. As he stepped inside, he could feel the tension between him and his wife mounting. Sarah's voice echoed through the room as she frantically tried to cover for Karen by telling her that they were just playing in their new home. Karen snarled, "That's not what happened, Keiko Curry. You've been living here since 2015 with no rent or legal notice." Keiko Curry felt a pang of guilt run through his veins as he realized the truth about their residency. He had forgotten to inform Karen that they were renewing their lease in just a few days and hadn't yet moved out. "Karen, please," Sarah pleaded for her forgiveness, while Keiko Curry held onto Karen's arm tightly, determined not to let go until she understood what was happening. "I know now what you did wasn't meant to harm us or your home. I understand that my mother disinherited me for fraud and left the house behind when we started our lives together." Karen spat out coldly, her voice shaking with anger. Keiko Curry's heart sank as he realized that Karen might have been trying to frame them for murder in an attempt to inherit their dream home from their deceased mother. He could feel Sarah's fear growing inside him, knowing that they had just uncovered a dark secret about her past and the people who knew it. As Keiko Curry struggled with his emotions, Karen continued speaking. "I understand now why you didn't give us any notice of your intention to stay in our house for more than 6 months. You were aware that we had been trying to sell it, but you wanted to continue living there until my mother's estate was settled." Keiko Curry's thoughts raced as he considered the possibility of Karen framing them for murder. He knew they couldn't let her get away with this and vowed to protect their home from any further harm. "I understand what you're saying, Karen," Keiko Curry said firmly, his voice filled with determination. "We don't know your intentions or motives, but we can assure you that we are not responsible for anything you did." As the tension between them increased, Sarah looked at her husband with a mixture of fear and confusion. She couldn't help wondering if they were making a mistake by staying in their dream home without proper security measures. "I don't know what to do," she whispered, her voice barely above a whisper as she tried to gather her thoughts before speaking further. Keiko Curry took a deep breath and spoke again, his words carrying a weight of responsibility. "We can't stay here forever, Sarah. We need to find a way out while Karen remains in jail. Let's look into the situation with our attorney's help and see if we can make things right," he said firmly. Sarah nodded reluctantly, her eyes watering as she realized that they had just come face to face with one of the most difficult challenges they would ever face together. With a heavy heart, they made their decision to leave their dream home behind and search for a new place where they could start anew and build a life filled with love and hope. The one. Karen. 9/11. 2. 3. Oh. Sarah. Keiko Curry. Oh. Karen. Oh. Sarah. Keiko. 4. 5. Karen. 6. 7. 8. Keiko Sarah. 9. Karen. 10. 11. Sarah Keiko. 12. Sarah Keiko. Sarah Keiko. Global outline. A couple, Sarah and Keiko Curry, are in their dream home, a beautiful villa surrounded by lush greenery. The tranquility of the place is shattered when Karen walks through the door, accusing them of being squatters in her mother's house. As they confront Karen, she claims to have been walking through the property on purpose and that it was not a surprise for Sarah or Keiko, as their new home lacked proper security measures. They are shocked by these accusations but refuse to accept it until they meet with an attorney who will help them fight the charges. The shocking twist comes when Karen reveals she is actually seeking revenge against Sarah's ex-husband, Michael Curry, after he left her for a younger woman and took their children. She claims that his actions led to the loss of both their homes, leaving them with nothing but emptiness and pain in their lives. As they delve deeper into Karen's story, it becomes clear that her accusations are not just about property ownership, but also personal vendetta against Michael for past betrayals. Sarah must navigate a web of lies and deceit as she tries to uncover the truth behind Karen's motives while protecting herself from the consequences of their actions. With the help of an experienced attorney, Sarah uncovers evidence that Michael was indeed involved in the disappearance of both their children, which led him to leave them with Karen for safety. As they gather more information and confront Michael once again, they realize that their situation is much more complex than they initially thought. The tension mounts as Sarah tries to convince Karen to turn herself over to authorities while keeping her own life safe from harm. She realizes that she must find a way to protect both themselves and the children without putting them in danger, but doing so will require making difficult choices and sacrifices. As they navigate this treacherous journey, Sarah discovers secrets about Michael's past that shed light on his actions leading up to their divorce. These revelations force her to confront her own demons and reevaluate her beliefs regarding forgiveness and redemption. She must come to terms with the fact that even in a world where seemingly innocent people can do terrible things, there may be hope for change. The climax of the story comes when Sarah's attorney presents evidence against Michael, proving his involvement in their children's disappearance. With this newfound proof at her disposal, Karen becomes willing to turn herself over to authorities and face justice. However, Sarah must also confront her own guilt and anger as she grapples with what happened to their family. The aftermath of the case brings about a renewed sense of purpose for Sarah and Keiko Coury, who vow never to let past mistakes define them again. They decide to take on a new chapter in their lives together by rebuilding their dream home, starting fresh without any lasting scars or trauma from the events that led to Karen's accusations. The story ends with the couple moving into their new house, surrounded by newfound hope and strength as they embrace a future filled with love, forgiveness, and redemption. They understand that even in times of chaos and darkness, there is always a chance for growth, change, and healing. As they continue to navigate the complexities of life, they are reminded that even when facing seemingly insurmountable obstacles, hope and resilience can guide us towards new beginnings. Global outline. A black couple's peaceful breakfast in their new dream home turns into chaos when a white woman, Karen, walks through their back door and accuses them of being squatters in her mother's house. She calls 911, fabricating a story that they're armed intruders. It wasn't. The shocking twist? Sarah had always known that she was responsible for her family's disappearance. As the case unfolded, Karen became determined to clear their name and confront the truth about what happened to her children. She pored over their medical records and spoke with friends and neighbors who knew them well, gathering evidence that pointed in a different direction. It wasn't until Sarah confronted a detective named Jack, who had been investigating their disappearance for months, that she realized there was more than meets the eye. As Karen detailed her story to Jack, he listened intently and asked questions about the events leading up to their children's. She described how they had gone missing on Halloween night while out trick-or-treating in a nearby park. While they were enjoying themselves, one of Sarah's sons, Keiko, wandered off by himself without his sister, Sarah's daughter, Lily. Karen explained that she had seen Keiko at the local playground that day and had tried to follow him there as he played alone, but instead found him in a nearby alleyway, surrounded by suspicious figures who claimed they were looking for someone called the Shadow. She later discovered that one of those individuals was actually Sarah's ex-boyfriend, David, who she had been stalking for weeks. Karen confronted David about his involvement in her children's disappearance and accused him of staging a fake crime to cover up the truth. He denied any knowledge or responsibility, but as they argued, Jack noticed something amiss with their story. When asked if he could see any inconsistencies between what Sarah was telling them and the evidence she had gathered, David hesitated for a moment before confessing that he had been involved in Lily's disappearance all along. Karen confronted David about his involvement in her children's disappearance and accused him of staging a fake crime to cover up the truth. He denied any knowledge or responsibility, but as they argued, Jack noticed something amiss with their story. When asked if he could see any inconsistencies between what Sarah was telling them and the evidence she had gathered, David hesitated for a moment before confessing that he had been involved in Lily's disappearance all along. Karen's disbelief turned to anger and frustration as she realized the lengths David would go to cover up his crimes. She confronted him about her children missing again, demanding answers from him on why he was keeping their whereabouts hidden for so long. When David refused to provide a reason or cooperate further, Karen felt like giving up hope that they could ever find justice for her family. However, as she sat in the police station with Jack and other officers, Sarah began to see things differently. She realized that there was more than one person involved in their children's disappearance, each with their own motives and agendas. David had been using his wealth and connections to cover up his crimes, while Karen had always been a quiet, unassuming mother who kept her family hidden from the world. As they pieced together the clues and gathered evidence against David, Sarah felt like she was finally standing on solid ground. She knew that she could use this knowledge to bring him to justice and find closure for her children's unsolved case. But as the trial approached, Karen faced a formidable opponent in David. He had a reputation for being ruthless and cunning, with a talent for manipulating people at his command. Sarah knew that if they were going to win their case, it would require all of their skills and resources, not just physical strength and determination. As she prepared for the trial, Karen worked tirelessly on her defense, gathering evidence against David's guilt in a way that was both persuasive and compelling. She spoke with friends and family who had been impacted by his actions, sharing their stories about how they were deceived and betrayed by him. In court, Sarah presented a detailed account of David's role in the children's disappearance, showcasing the inconsistencies between what Karen had told them and the evidence she had gathered. As the prosecution tried to disprove her claims, Sarah refused to back down or admit fault. Instead, she stood firm in her belief that there was more than one person involved, each with their own motives for doing what they did. In a tense showdown, David's defense lawyer attempted to argue against Karen's credibility by presenting evidence of his involvement in other high-profile cases, highlighting the similarities between them and the events surrounding Lily's disappearance. Sarah responded with a series of incisive questions that exposed David's lies and deceit, drawing out more information about his true intentions. As the trial continued, Karen's determination to bring justice for her children paid off in stunning fashion. The jury found David guilty of conspiracy to commit murder, as well as multiple other charges related to their disappearance. Despite facing a harsh sentence, Sarah was relieved and grateful that she had stood up for what was right. With David behind bars, Karen's family could finally breathe a sigh of relief. They hugged each other tightly in the courtroom, tears streaming down their faces as they realized that justice had been served. As Sarah looked out at the judge and jury, she knew that this would never be enough to bring her children back. But even after the trial was over, Karen continued to fight for them. She rallied her friends and family, sharing their stories of resilience and hope in the face of adversity. Through it all, she remained determined to rebuild their dream home with newfound meaning, a place where they could create new memories and start anew. As they stood outside their new house, surrounded by fresh flowers and twinkling lights, Sarah couldn't help but feel grateful for the lessons learned from her journey through the dark days. She knew that no matter how difficult life may seem now, she would always have a beacon of hope in the form of her children's memories. As they embraced each other tightly, Karen vowed to never let past mistakes define them again. They understood that even when facing seemingly insurmountable obstacles, hope and resilience could guide us towards new beginnings. And with their dream home now standing tall as a testament to their strength and determination, they knew that the future was brighter than ever before. Task: continue the story continuously. Global outline. *A piece F. All breakfast in a new dream home becomes a chaotic situation when Karen, the black couple's housekeeper and friend, walks through their back door with accusations of squatters. It wasn't them. They had been invited to stay at the property after selling it off as an investment for renovations. The homeowners were unaware that Karen was not related to the original owners or had no authority over the home. As Karen confronts the couple, she fabricates a story about there being armed intruders and calls 911. This false accusation creates panic in the house and leads to her arrest. The trial is over, but Karen's actions have consequences. She becomes vilified by both the public and the legal system for spreading lies and putting innocent people through unnecessary fear. As she awaits trial, Karen rallies her friends and family, sharing their stories of resilience and hope in the face of adversity. They remember how they too faced challenges and overcame them to build a better future together. Through these shared experiences, Karen comes to understand that even when life seems bleak, it is possible to overcome obstacles and create new opportunities for growth and happiness. As they stand outside their new house, surrounded by fresh flowers and twinkling lights, Sarah couldn't help but feel grateful for the lessons learned from her journey through the dark days. She knew that no matter how difficult life may seem now, she would always have a beacon of hope in the form of her children's memories. As they embraced each other tightly, Karen vowed to never let past mistakes define them again. They understood that even when facing seemingly insurmountable obstacles, hope and resilience could guide us towards new beginnings. And with their dream home now standing tall as a testament to their strength and determination, they knew that the future was brighter than ever before. The trial began in court, where Karen's attorney presented evidence of her false accusations. They argued that she had been coerced by the homeowners into fabricating stories and attempting to extort them for financial compensation. However, Karen's testimony fell short, as the jury found her guilty on all charges. As they sentenced her, Karen felt a wave of relief wash over her, knowing that justice was finally being served. The impact of this injustice would be felt long after the trial, and Karen struggled to come to terms with what had happened. She knew that she could never return to the house or let her reputation suffer from her actions in court. Instead, Karen dedicated herself to rebuilding their dream home with newfound meaning. They worked tirelessly to renovate the property, using old materials and incorporating new designs into the space to create a modern and comfortable living environment for them and future generations. As they transformed the house, Karen's friends and family watched in awe of her dedication and resilience. They saw how she had turned their darkest hours into something beautiful, turning their home into a symbol of hope and resilience for all who entered. In addition to renovating the property, Karen also worked closely with the homeowners to address any issues or conflicts that arose during the renovation process. She helped them understand the importance of communication and collaboration in building strong relationships within a community. As their dream home began to take shape, Karen felt a sense of pride and accomplishment. They knew that they had overcome great challenges and created something truly special for themselves and those around them. The turning point came when the couple decided to open it up as an Airbnb rental. This decision was not without its risks and challenges, but they believed in their ability to create a unique experience for guests while also providing financial stability for themselves. Asterisk as they began to prepare for opening day, Karen felt nervous yet excited. She knew that this was the opportunity to share her dream home with others and showcase the beauty of resilience and hope. The next logical beats from the outline. Asterisk the couple's decision to open their dream home as an Airbnb rental had both benefits and drawbacks. On one hand, they could earn extra income by renting out a portion of the property to travelers who were looking for unique accommodations in the area. This would allow them to continue providing a comfortable living environment while also giving back to their community. However, opening up their dream home as an Airbnb rental presented challenges such as securing bookings and managing guests' expectations. They needed to ensure that they provided high-quality services and amenities while still maintaining the integrity of their new home. Asterisk as they prepared for opening day, Karen worked tirelessly with their booking agent and marketing team to secure a steady stream of reservations. She also spent time brainstorming unique features and attractions to attract guests who were interested in experiencing both traditional home renovations and modern design elements. The couple's efforts paid off, and the Airbnb rental business quickly gained traction within the community. They attracted a diverse group of travelers from all over the world, each seeking different experiences and memories during their stay. Asterisk as they welcomed their first guests to their dream home, Karen felt a sense of pride knowing that her hard work had paid off. She watched as their smiles grew wider with each passing day, seeing how their love for their new space transformed into something truly magical. The Airbnb rental business allowed the couple to create lasting memories and connections with their customers while also providing them with financial stability. They felt grateful to be able to share their vision of a dream home that symbolized hope and resilience with others. Asterisk, however, as the business grew, Karen faced new challenges such as managing guest expectations and ensuring compliance with local laws. She worked closely with their booking agent and hotel staff to ensure all aspects of their operation were in line with regulations and standards. The couple also had to navigate complex legal issues related to Airbnb rentals, including landlord-tenant disputes and concerns over property damage or security risks. They relied on trusted advisors and experts who helped them understand the nuances of these topics and develop strategies for addressing any potential conflicts. Asterisk, despite the challenges they faced, Karen remained committed to their dream home and the value it represented. She continued to work hard to ensure that everything ran smoothly for guests, providing a comfortable and enjoyable stay in an inspiring new space. As the months passed, the couple's Airbnb rental business grew steadily, attracting more customers from around the world who were inspired by their vision of resilience and hope. They became known as experts in home renovation and hospitality, sharing their stories with others and encouraging them to pursue similar dreams. Asterisk, in addition to hosting guests, Karen continued to work closely with their community members on a number of initiatives that aligned with their values and aspirations for the future. She was an advocate for sustainability and environmental responsibility, using her business as a platform to raise awareness about issues such as waste reduction and eco-friendly practices. The next logical beats from the outline. Asterisk, as the couple's Airbnb rental business continued to thrive, they became more involved in local community initiatives. Karen worked closely with other members of their family, including their children, to create programs that promote sustainability and education about environmental issues. They organized workshops, led walks, and hosted educational events on topics such as composting, recycling, and renewable energy sources. The couple also became advocates for affordable housing and accessibility in the community. They worked with local governments and nonprofit organizations to advocate for new developments and funding that would help families like their own find affordable homes within walking distance of their dream home. In addition to these initiatives, Karen continued to raise awareness about mental health and emotional well-being among her customers and guests through shared stories and resources. She recognized the importance of creating a supportive environment where people could feel comfortable seeking help when needed, and she worked tirelessly to create spaces that fostered this sense of community. The couple's commitment to supporting their local communities was not just limited to business practices. They also engaged in philanthropic endeavors through grants and donations. They supported initiatives such as literacy programs, food banks, and environmental conservation projects, using their platform as a way to make a positive impact on the world around them. As the couple's dream home continued to stand tall as an inspiration for others, Karen felt a sense of fulfillment knowing that her work had not only brought joy and happiness into their lives, but also created meaningful change in their community. She knew that they were part of something bigger than themselves, and that the legacy they left would continue to resonate with future generations. As the years went by, the couple's dream home continued to evolve and adapt over time, becoming a symbol of hope and resilience for all who visited or worked there. They remained committed to their vision of creating an inspiring space that inspired others to pursue their own dreams and find meaning in life. In conclusion, Karen's story serves as a powerful reminder of the power of resilience, hope, and community in overcoming adversity. Despite facing numerous challenges along the way, she refused to let past mistakes define her or hold her back from achieving her dreams. The next logical beats from the outline. As the couple's dream home stood tall as a testament to their strength and determination, Karen felt grateful for all that they had accomplished. She knew that it was not an easy road to success, but she had never global outline. A peaceful breakfast in a new dream home turns into chaos when a white woman, Karen, walks through their back door and accuses them of being squatters in her mother's house. She calls 911, fabricating a story that they're armed intruders. It wasn't. The couple had bought the house as an investment property, but never intended to rent it out or sell it for profit. They were simply renting a space where their families could live together and support each other's dreams. Karen approached them with her concerns, expressing her belief that they were not trespassing in their home. As the investigation unfolds, the couple discovers a hidden room under the staircase leading to an underground garage. There are no signs of forced entry or damage consistent with intruders' actions. They decide to investigate further and uncover evidence that suggests Karen may have made up her story about them being squatters. What they find is shocking: a secret stash of firearms, including weapons belonging to a local police officer who had been investigating their rental history for months. The couple's lives were intertwined with the officer's work as he was looking into a series of suspicious cases involving illegal activities on the property. Karen may have stumbled upon this evidence while snooping around in her mother's house. As they confront Karen, the couple realizes that she has been living off their rental income and using it to finance a secret underground operation. She had convinced them to rent out the home as a hideout for illegal activities, including drug trafficking, money laundering, and even human trafficking. The evidence gathered at the scene suggests that her plan was far more sinister than they initially imagined. Karen's actions have caused a ripple effect throughout their community, with many people coming forward to report sightings of suspicious activity around the house. Some fear for their safety, while others are curious about what might be happening inside. The police and local authorities investigate the situation, but it becomes clear that Karen has gone too far in her quest for power. As they dig deeper into Karen's past, the couple discovers a long history of abuse at the hands of her mother, who had been involved in criminal activities as well. Karen had grown up surrounded by violence and trauma, which had driven her to seek revenge on anyone who dared stand against her family or threaten their safety. It becomes clear that Karen's actions are not only illegal, but also morally reprehensible. The couple confronts her at a community meeting, demanding accountability for the harm she has caused. They explain how they have been living together in this home as partners and family members, struggling to make ends meet while maintaining their integrity and values. Karen resists pressure to apologize or renounce her involvement with the underground operation. She claims that she is simply doing what's right and protecting her loved ones from further harm. The couple struggles to persuade her to come clean, but they are not willing to give up on their dream home and the legacy they have created. As the case unfolds, the community becomes divided over Karen's actions. Some believe in supporting her cause and demanding justice for all those who were victimized by her crimes. Others fear that she will use this opportunity as an excuse to escape accountability for her past mistakes. The police investigation continues with renewed urgency, but it is unclear what the outcome of their efforts may be. In a surprising twist, Karen's mother appears on TV news, claiming that she was unaware of her daughter's involvement in illegal activities and had always been trying to protect them from harm. She reveals that Karen has been living off their income as a way to support herself during times of financial difficulty while staying true to her values. The couple is torn between supporting their family member who may be trying to save them or standing up for what's right. They must decide whether to confront the mother and demand accountability, knowing that it could put themselves in danger as well as others around them. As the dust settles on this complex case, the couple realizes that Karen's story serves as a reminder of the importance of community support and unity in overcoming adversity. Despite facing numerous challenges along the way, they remain committed to their vision of creating an inspiring space where individuals can find hope and resilience. They vow to continue fighting for justice, not just for themselves, but also for all those who have been affected by Karen's actions. In conclusion, Karen's story serves as a powerful reminder that even in the face of overwhelming adversity, it is never too late to turn our backs on wrongs and stand up for what we believe in. The next logical beats from the outline. As the couple continues to investigate Karen's past and work towards exposing her criminal activities, they receive support from their community members who recognize the injustice she has caused. They reach out to local law enforcement agencies, hoping that justice can be served before it's too late. Despite facing resistance and skepticism, they are determined to bring Karen down and hold her accountable for her crimes. As the couple faces multiple challenges in bringing Karen down, including legal obstacles and personal threats, they draw strength from the community's unwavering support. Their determination to expose the truth inspires others to speak out against injustice and take action towards creating a safer and more equitable society. The black couple, Keiko Khoury and Sarah, had always dreamed of owning their own dream home in the peaceful suburbs. The previous year, they bought a beautiful new house that overlooked a lush forest and was nestled among greenery just down the street from their favorite local park. They moved into the house with excitement, but soon after settling in, things took an unexpected turn when Karen, a white woman with striking features, walked through their back door. Karen had heard about Keiko Khoury's dream home on social media and decided to stop by for a tour. She was immediately struck by its beauty and charm, especially as she peered into the inviting windows that overlooked the forest. As soon as they entered, Karen couldn't resist calling 911, claiming their house was in need of immediate repairs due to construction workers who had been working on it. The husband, Keiko Kuri, dismissed her claims at first, telling her he wasn't aware any construction work was taking place and that the property was his. However, as they began researching Karen's background online, she quickly became convinced that their new home was not just a dream come true, but an illegal squatter's hideout. The couple decided to investigate Karen's past and uncover the truth behind her claims of being in need of repairs. They soon discovered that Karen had been evicted from several homes due to unpaid rent or for breaking into them, leading her to believe she was entitled to a new property based on her legal status as an ex-felon. As they delved deeper into Karen's past, Keiko Kuri and Sarah uncovered evidence of fraud and deceit, including letters written by the homeowner's insurance company claiming that their claim had been denied due to false information provided by Karen. They discovered that Karen had submitted numerous fraudulent documents to deceive the authorities about her true intentions, all in an effort to secure a new property for herself. The couple knew they needed to act fast before it was too late. They reached out to local law enforcement agencies, hoping that justice could be served before it's too late. Despite facing resistance and skepticism from some members of their community who believed Karen was merely trying to claim a piece of land she had no legal right to, the couple remained steadfast in their determination to bring her down. As they worked tirelessly to gather evidence against Karen, Keiko Kuri and Sarah encountered numerous challenges along the way. They faced legal obstacles due to the false claims made by Karen, as well as personal threats from those who were afraid that their actions would result in them being caught or worse. However, they refused to give up hope, knowing that justice had a right to prevail. One of the biggest challenges Keiko Kuri and Sarah encountered was convincing local authorities to take action against Karen's illegal activities. They knew it wouldn't be an easy task, as many people were skeptical about her claims and believed she could simply walk away without facing any consequences. However, they refused to back down, knowing that their mission was more than just a matter of justice. It was also about preventing others from falling victim to the same kind of deception. Through tireless work and relentless determination, Keiko Kuri and Sarah were able to gather enough evidence against Karen to convince local authorities to launch an investigation. They faced numerous legal challenges during this process, but they remained steadfast in their commitment to holding her accountable for her crimes. As the case progressed, tensions rose between Keiko Kuri and Karen as she continued to deny any wrongdoing and maintain that her claim was legitimate. However, despite her best efforts, it became increasingly clear that Karen's actions were more than just a matter of property rights. They had also caused significant harm and trauma to those who lived in the community. Keiko Kuri knew that he couldn't continue down this path alone, but he didn't let fear or doubt hold him back. He reached out to other members of their community, asking for support and guidance as they worked towards exposing Karen's criminal activities. As Keiko Kuri and Sarah continued to investigate Karen's past and work towards bringing her down, they were joined by a group of passionate individuals who shared the same vision for justice and equality. They organized rallies, letter-writing campaigns, and even spoke out in public forums, drawing attention to the injustices being committed against Karen and their fellow residents. Their efforts paid off when local authorities launched an investigation into Karen's activities and found enough evidence to charge her with multiple counts of criminal trespassing, fraud, and theft. Karen was arrested and taken into custody without incident, leaving behind a trail of destruction that had caused widespread fear and trauma among the community. The trial lasted several weeks, with Keiko Kuri, and Sarah representing Karen in court alongside their legal team. They faced intense scrutiny from both sides as they argued for justice and against Karen's claims of innocence. However, despite the opposition, Keiko Kuroi and Sarah remained steadfast in their commitment to ensuring that Karen was held accountable for her actions. In a stunning courtroom victory, the jury found Karen guilty on all counts and sentenced her to a lengthy prison term. The community erupted into applause as they celebrated this momentous achievement, knowing that justice had been served against an individual who had caused significant harm to those around them. As Keiko Kuroi and Sarah sat in their jail cell together, reflecting on the events leading up to this day, they knew that it was only just beginning. They continued to work towards creating a safer and more equitable society by exposing Karen's criminal activities and holding her accountable for her actions. The couple remained optimistic about the future, knowing that with perseverance and dedication, they could continue their mission of justice and equality in their community. They had faced incredible challenges along the way, but had never given up on hope or determination. And as they looked out at the bright blue sky outside their jail cell, they knew that no matter what obstacles lay ahead, they would always be ready to fight for a better future. 1. A black couple's peaceful break. AST in their new dream home turns into chaos when a white woman, Karen, walks through their back door and accuses them of being squatters in her mother's house. She calls 911. Fabricating a story that they're armed intruders. 2. It wasn't. The shocking twist. 3. As the police arrived on scene, chaos ensued as neighbors scrambled to escape from the building while Karen tried to defend herself and her husband, Keiko Kuroi. 4. When police entered the room, they found evidence of forced entry through a window that had been broken by a crowbar. They discovered several empty bags stuffed with cash and jewelry scattered throughout the apartment, including stolen cars, weapons, and other valuable items. 5. As Karen tried to explain her alibi, she became increasingly agitated, accusing her husband of lying about their intentions. She claimed they were simply renovating their home for a new tenant and had no knowledge of the previous owner's illegal activities. 6. The prosecution presented witnesses who alleged that during their time at the apartment complex, Karen had been seen acting suspiciously around 10 p.m. on several occasions when she was alone with her husband. They claimed they heard her making threats and shouting about a missing laptop computer, which she later claimed had been returned. 7. The trial began in court on a Monday morning, where the prosecution presented their case against Karen. As defense attorney Sarah Kuroi argued that there were inconsistencies between Karen's story and the physical evidence found at the apartment complex, including the broken window and empty bags of stolen goods. 8. During cross-examination, Detective Mike Thompson, who had been investigating the incident since it occurred, testified about his interactions with both Keiko and Karen. He revealed that they had given conflicting statements regarding their presence in the building on those days, highlighting inconsistencies in details such as when they were last seen by neighbors and how they spent the time. 9. As Sarah continued to defend her client, she mentioned that they had been renovating the apartment for a new tenant who was not aware of its previous history. She also claimed that Karen's husband had provided them with an updated lease agreement outlining their rights as tenants in the property. 10. The prosecution countered by calling witnesses from the complex and explaining how they were able to confirm these details. They presented evidence of surveillance footage obtained during a security camera check, which showed both Keiko and Karen leaving the building at approximately 9:30 p.m. on those dates. Furthermore, they highlighted inconsistencies in their alibi about being seen around that time by other residents. 11. The defense attorney continued her argument with a surprising revelation. She revealed that the couple had hired an investigator to conduct a background check on them before moving into the apartment complex. As she explained, this investigation uncovered Karen's history of criminal activity dating back several years and included charges for embezzlement, fraud, and identity theft. 12. The prosecution attorney then asked her about their motivation for committing these illegal activities, but Sarah confidently denied any involvement in them. She stated that they had been living paycheck to paycheck and were struggling financially when the opportunity came up to renovate their dream home into a luxurious apartment complex. 13. Detective Thompson's testimony during cross-examination added another layer of complexity as he explained how Karen's criminal record had affected her ability to find employment in the area. He revealed that she had been arrested several times for embezzlement and theft, which made it difficult for them to secure stable work due to a lack of references. 14. As the prosecution continued their case against Karen, Sarah took control during the closing arguments. She argued that despite her guilt, there was no evidence linking her husband to any criminal activity or motive. She pointed out inconsistencies in his statements about being present on those dates and highlighted the fact that they had provided a new lease agreement outlining their rights as tenants. 15. The defense attorney responded by presenting compelling evidence of the couple's financial struggles and the reasons behind their decision to move into the apartment complex. They argued that while Karen may have been motivated by financial desperation, her husband was more focused on starting anew in his life with a better job prospects. 16. During a final appeal hearing, Judge James Wilson ruled in favor of the defense attorney's arguments, dismissing all charges against Karen and finding no evidence linking them to any criminal activity or motive. He emphasized that their actions had been fueled by financial desperation rather than malice or premeditation. 17. As the jury left the courtroom following her guilty verdict, Sarah Corey couldn't help but feel a sense of relief wash over her. She knew that justice had been served and that Karen's criminal history would not define her future in their community. 18. The couple continued to work towards rebuilding their lives as they navigated the challenges ahead. They started by applying for job interviews with various companies, seeking employment opportunities that were within their budget and qualifications. As they gained more experience and developed a strong reputation in their field, Sarah felt confident that she could secure stable employment soon. 19. The community celebrated this major victory not only for Karen but also for the couple themselves. They continued to work towards creating a safer and more equitable society by exposing Karen's criminal activities and holding her accountable for her actions. As they looked out at the bright blue sky outside their jail cell, they knew that no matter what obstacles lay ahead, they would always be ready to fight for a better future. 20. The story concludes with Keiko Corey and Sarah Corey reflecting on the journey so far, acknowledging both the challenges and triumphs they've faced along the way. They understand that justice is not just about finding answers, but also about creating change in society's structures, ensuring that no one ever has to face a similar situation again. 21. As they looked out at their home, newly renovated with newfound hope and optimism for the future, they knew that together, they had proven that even when faced with adversity, they could overcome it and build something new, brighter than before. 1. A peaceful breakfast in a dream home. The black couple, Tom and Sarah, are enjoying their new luxurious abode when they receive an unexpected knock on the door from Karen, who claims to be their neighbor's family visiting. They politely welcome her inside for a warm cup of coffee, but soon realize that things have taken a sinister turn. 2. Accusation of squatters. Despite their peaceful intentions, Karen presents them with evidence that she has uncovered a shocking truth about the couple and their new home. She claims that they had illegally occupied an elderly woman's property without her consent due to financial struggles or desperation for shelter. The couple initially denies these allegations, but soon realizes the severity of the situation. 3. Fabricating false story. Karen takes it upon herself to call 911, claiming that the couple is armed intruders. She provides a fabricated account, describing their appearance as menacing and threatening, leading the authorities on a wild chase through the neighborhood. The police respond with sirens blaring, but when they arrive at the residence, they discover no evidence of physical altercations or weapons. 4. Frustration and anger. The couple is shocked by Karen's actions and feel violated by her accusations. They try to defend themselves against these false claims, arguing that their circumstances were dire and not intended as a breach of privacy. However, Karen persists with the lie, leaving the couple feeling humiliated and intimidated. 5. Community reaction. As news spreads about Karen's lies, the local community takes notice, celebrating her victory over the couple for exposing their criminal activities. People express support for Karen and commend her bravery in standing up to injustice. The media also highlights the story on television, drawing attention to the issue of housing insecurity and racial profiling. 6. Journey towards justice. To gain traction for their cause, Tom and Sarah collaborate with a group of community members who have already started organizing protests against illegal squatters. They appeal to local law enforcement agencies, offering evidence that supports Karen's claims and hoping to bring her charges. As the case gains momentum, they receive media attention from various outlets, further amplifying their message. 7. Repercussions for Karen. The public backlash against Karen escalates as she faces intense criticism both online and offline. Many people argue that it is unfair to label someone a squatter when there was no evidence of criminal activity or exploitation in her situation. Some even call for stricter penalties for illegal occupancy, but the authorities maintain their stance on the issue. 8. Emotional struggle. As Tom and Sarah navigate these challenges, they grapple with feelings of anger, betrayal, and frustration. They are torn between defending themselves against false accusations and standing up for justice that could potentially harm someone else's well-being. Their relationship becomes strained as arguments arise over what exactly constitutes a crime or how to address the issue effectively. 9. Seeking solace. As they struggle with their emotional state, Tom turns to his family and friends for support. He confides in Sarah about her experiences and encourages her to seek professional help if she is struggling with trauma from Karen's actions. Sarah agrees, reaching out to a therapist who specializes in addressing abuse and trauma. 10. New chapter in the story. With the community's backing and personal guidance, Tom and Sarah embark on a journey towards healing and moving forward. They take steps to address their emotional wounds, such as therapy sessions and self-care practices, while also focusing on building stronger relationships with their neighbors who have come together against squatters. 11. Rebuilding trust. The couple embarks on a community outreach program that aims to educate people about the issue of housing insecurity and its impact on vulnerable individuals. They share their story and offer resources for those experiencing similar struggles, fostering an environment where they can seek help without fear or stigma. Throughout this journey, Tom and Sarah face numerous obstacles, including personal demons, legal challenges, and a sense of uncertainty regarding Karen's future. However, each step they take brings them closer to justice and the realization that even in the darkest moments, there is always hope for change. 12. The next logical beats. Their efforts catch the attention. As the community continues to raise awareness about their campaign, Tom and Sarah receive support from influential individuals and organizations, including local politicians and social activists. They also collaborate with government agencies, hoping that they can make a significant impact on the issue of housing insecurity. Reforms proposal drafted. Recognizing the need for change in legislation, Tom and Sarah draft a comprehensive proposal that outlines stricter penalties for illegal occupancy based on specific criteria such as property ownership history, criminal records, or financial circumstances. They aim to protect vulnerable individuals from exploitation while also promoting fair treatment under the law. Public demonstrations organized. In response to their proposed reforms, local residents organized protests and rallies in support of Karen's claims and urge for stronger legislation. Their efforts put pressure on government officials, who may be hesitant to adopt new policies due to political pressures or lack of public consensus. 13. Building resilience. The community comes together once again as they celebrate the progress made so far towards addressing housing insecurity. They share stories of their triumphs, such as Karen's victory in exposing her illegal occupation and the successful prosecution of the accused squatters. Empowerment initiatives launched. Tom and Sarah lead a series of empowerment workshops that equip community members with the skills to report cases of illegal occupancy or help secure stable housing for those experiencing homelessness. These programs aim to empower individuals to advocate for their rights, create self-sufficiency networks, and foster a sense of collective responsibility in tackling this issue. Collaboration agreements signed. As they continue to build trust within the community, Tom and Sarah negotiate agreements with local landlords, property owners, and housing authorities that prioritize fair treatment and compliance with anti-housing squatting laws. These collaborations help ensure that vulnerable individuals are protected from exploitation while also fostering a more equitable society. 14. The future ahead. As they celebrate their achievements, Tom and Sarah envision a brighter future for themselves and the community. They work tirelessly to create systemic change by advocating for policies at all levels of government, engaging with policymakers, and collaborating with advocacy groups. Community-driven solutions. Drawing from the lessons learned during this journey, Tom and Sarah prioritize creating community-based initiatives that empower individuals to address housing insecurity in their own neighborhoods. These projects could include neighborhood cooperatives, job training programs, or affordable rental options for low-income families. Continued education and awareness. They continue educating others about the complexities of illegal occupancy and its impact on vulnerable communities through workshops, educational materials, and public outreach campaigns. 15. The aftermath of Karen's trial. Reconciliation and forgiveness. Tom and Sarah work towards healing from their emotional wounds and moving forward with a deeper understanding of Karen's actions. They acknowledge that they may never fully forgive her for the harm she caused, but strive to find ways to make amends by offering support, education, or resources to those affected. Community legacy. As justice is served, Tom and Sarah build upon their efforts to create a lasting impact on society. They establish community-based organizations that continue to advocate for housing security and work towards reducing the prevalence of illegal occupancy in marginalized communities. 16. The final chapters. Reflections and lessons learned. After overcoming various challenges and celebrating their triumphs, Tom and Sarah reflect on what they have learned during this journey. They highlight the importance of empathy, resilience, community support, and collaboration as key elements for success. Legacy to inspire future generations. Inspired by their example, Tom and Sarah encourage others to take action against housing insecurity in their own communities. They share stories of individuals who found hope and stability through their experiences and offer resources for those seeking help. Final chapter concludes the story with a sense of optimism that no matter what obstacles lie ahead, justice will prevail. The couple's efforts have not only brought attention to an issue, but also inspired change in their community, laying the groundwork for a more equitable future. Global outline. Asterisk: a black couple's peaceful breakfast in their new dream home turns into chaos when a white woman, Karen, walks through their back door and accuses them of being squatters in her mother's house. She calls 911, fabricating a story that they're armed intruders. Continued from previous paragraph. Legacy. As justice is served, Tom and Sarah build upon their efforts to create a lasting impact on society. They establish community-based organizations that continue to advocate for housing security and work towards reducing the prevalence of illegal occupancy in marginalized communities. 16. The final chapters, asterisk: reflections and lessons learned. A. Empathy. Tom and Sarah recognize the pain and hardship experienced by Karen's family, who were forced to leave their home due to displacement or lack of access to affordable housing options. They empathize with her situation and understand why she might fabricate a story about intruders. B. Resilience. Despite being falsely accused, Tom and Sarah remain determined to prove their innocence and clear their name. They face numerous challenges throughout the investigation process, including witness intimidation, surveillance, and false leads that only add fuel to Karen's case. C. Community support. As news of the incident spread, Tom and Sarah rally community members who stand by them in their fight for justice. Friends and family offer emotional and financial support, while local law enforcement agencies work tirelessly to gather evidence against the couple. D. Collaboration. With each step forward, they collaborate with various stakeholders, including neighborhood organizations, city officials, and even advocacy groups dedicated to housing security. They seek advice from experts in the field, listen to feedback from affected residents, and strive for a comprehensive understanding of the issue at hand. Asterisk: legacy to inspire future generations. A. Education. Tom and Sarah educate their community about illegal occupancy in marginalized neighborhoods and its consequences on both individuals and families. They provide resources for housing, assistance programs, tenant rights campaigns, and awareness-raising initiatives aimed at reducing this issue. B. Empowerment. Through these efforts, they empower residents to advocate for better living conditions within their own communities. This includes advocating for zoning changes that allow more affordable units in high-density areas or providing mentorship opportunities for aspiring homeowners. C. Inspiration. Their story serves as a source of inspiration for future generations who may face similar challenges and inspire them to stand up against housing insecurity, take action, and work towards creating a more equitable world. By sharing their experiences and lessons learned from the case, they hope to empower individuals with knowledge and resources to tackle this issue head-on. Asterisk: final chapter concludes. A. Resilience. After overcoming numerous obstacles, Tom and Sarah's perseverance pays off as the truth of their innocence is revealed in a court hearing. The judge dismisses Karen's charges, clearing their names, and sentences them to community service for their role in misleading law enforcement. B. Hope and optimism. Despite the challenges they faced along the way, the couple remains optimistic about the future. They celebrate their victory not just because of justice being served, but also as a testament to their unwavering commitment to fighting against housing insecurity in all its forms. C. Legacy. The final chapters conclude with Tom and Sarah's message that no matter what obstacles lie ahead, justice will prevail. Their efforts have not only brought attention to an issue, but also inspired change within their community, laying the groundwork for a more equitable future. They continue to work towards creating positive change by advocating for policies, providing resources, and fostering collaboration between various stakeholders. Asterisk conclusion. As Tom and Sarah reflect on this journey, they acknowledge that justice is not always easy, and every step forward requires resilience, empathy, community support, and strategic planning. Their dedication to making a difference in their community serves as an example of the power of collective action, and their commitment to empowering others through education and advocacy has resonated with countless individuals and organizations across America. Their legacy will continue to inspire future generations, serving not only as a beacon of hope, but also as a blueprint for creating lasting change. Their story is a testament to the importance of standing up against injustice, fighting for equity, and working together towards a brighter tomorrow. In conclusion, Tom and Sarah's journey serves as an enduring reminder that even in seemingly hopeless circumstances, there is always room for redemption, growth, and positive change when we come together as a community. Their legacy will continue to inspire those seeking justice, providing hope and motivation for generations yet unborn, fostering unity and progress towards a more equitable future. In the small town of Millfield, California, Tom and Sarah had finally found their dream home nestled in a peaceful neighborhood surrounded by greenery. The couple's breakfast that morning was filled with laughter, love, and anticipation for their new life together. As they enjoyed their first taste of the local cuisine at a quaint cafe across from their new house, Karen, an enigmatic white woman, approached them. She had always been drawn to the charm of Millfield and its unique blend of history and modernity, making it her dream home. But when she walked through the door, everything changed. Karen accused Tom and Sarah of being squatters in her mother's house, claiming they were trespassing without permission. The couple was shocked but did not deny their claim, as they had always been living there since their parents sold the property to them a decade ago after inheriting it from her late grandmother. They explained that they had moved into the area for its affordable housing and sought out a cozy, quiet neighborhood with minimal noise pollution. Karen's claims were baseless, as Tom and Sarah knew their situation perfectly well. The house was purchased by their parents in 2015 when they first arrived in Millfield, and it remained solely theirs since then. They had meticulously maintained the property, including fixing any broken windows or doors, ensuring that there were no signs of recent renovations. Despite this, Karen's accusations still made a significant impact on Tom and Sarah. She demanded immediate evictions while simultaneously filing a police report with the local authorities, claiming they were trespassing in their own home without permission. As she spoke to the officers who arrived at the scene, her voice was filled with frustration and disbelief. The tension between Karen and Tom escalated as Officer Diego Mancini grilled them on the specifics of their claim. They explained that they had simply moved into the area for a short-term stay while searching for new employment opportunities in nearby cities, but the house remained occupied by their parents throughout that time. The officer's response was firm, emphasizing that they were trespassing without consent and would be arrested. Tom and Sarah knew they couldn't afford to leave the property or face legal action, as it could result in losing not only their dream home, but also their job search. They began brainstorming solutions, seeking guidance from local community leaders who had been affected by similar cases of unauthorized occupancy. One day, Tom reached out to a lawyer named David, whose firm specialized in housing rights and discrimination claims. He listened carefully as Sarah shared her story and the challenges they faced. As he reviewed their case, David suggested that they might consider filing a complaint with the California Civil Rights Commission, CCRC, which would provide them with legal assistance and guidance on how to proceed. Excited by the possibility of a resolution, Tom and Sarah began researching the CCRC's guidelines for housing rights cases in Millfield. They discovered that there were multiple laws and regulations in place governing unauthorized occupancy, including California Residential Code Section 17306A, which outlines specific conditions under which landlords are required to provide written notice of eviction. They worked closely with David to draft a comprehensive complaint outlining their claims against Karen's accusations and the CCRC guidelines. They submitted it to the agency on time, ensuring that they addressed all relevant issues in detail, including any evidence of recent renovations or changes made by Tom and Sarah. The next step was to gather support from local community organizations, such as Housing Task Force, which have been working tirelessly to address housing discrimination and displacement in Millfield. They reached out to various landlords, tenants, and homeowners who shared their concerns about unauthorized occupancy and the negative impact it had on their communities. Together with David, Tom and Sarah organized a series of public forums where they presented their case to the community. The forum brought together residents from all walks of life, including local businesses, government officials, and housing advocates. During these sessions, Tom and Sarah spoke about how Karen's accusations were not only based on hearsay, but also violated established laws that protected tenants' rights. As a result, the public opinion in Millfield shifted significantly. Many people began to understand why Tom and Sarah believed they had been unjustly evicted, despite their efforts to demonstrate ownership of the property. Their advocacy campaign received widespread media coverage, including articles, interviews with local news outlets, and social media posts from concerned residents. The CCRC's attention was brought back to Millfield by this public awareness, leading them to investigate Karen's claims in a more thorough manner. After reviewing their case files, they found no evidence of recent renovations or changes made by Tom and Sarah that could have justified the eviction. Instead, it appeared that Karen had fabricated her accusations based on hearsay and false information. The CCRC launched an investigation into Karen's allegations, conducting interviews with witnesses, property owners, and law enforcement agencies to gather more concrete evidence against her claims. They discovered that Karen was simply a victim of misinformation and coercion by local activists who were pushing for criminalization of unauthorized occupancy in Millfield. The CCRC ruled in favor of Tom and Sarah, finding that their claim had been valid and justifying the eviction process under California Residential Code Section 17306A. The ruling emphasized the importance of protecting tenants' rights and avoiding false accusations and legal harassment. With Karen's CA.SE resolved, Tom and Sarah were able to resume living in their dream home without facing any further legal issues. They expressed gratitude for the support they received from the community, including Housing Task Force, local law enforcement agencies, and advocacy groups such as the CCRC. The couple continued to work together to ensure that similar cases of unauthorized occupancy are addressed in Millfield and beyond. Tom became a vocal advocate for tenant rights, sharing their story with policymakers, journalists, and other stakeholders at the federal level. They worked closely with local housing developers, landlords, and community leaders to promote affordable housing policies and initiatives that address the root causes of displacement and discrimination in rental markets. Through their efforts, Tom and Sarah inspired countless individuals and organizations across America to prioritize tenant rights and advocate for equitable access to housing. Their legacy serves as a testament to the power of collective action, demonstrating how ordinary people can make a difference when working together towards a brighter future. In conclusion, Tom and Sarah's journey from peaceful breakfast in their dream home to being accused of squatters by Karen highlights the challenges that individuals face when seeking affordable housing and justice for renters. Despite facing adversity, they were able to leverage community support, legal resources, and advocacy efforts to secure eviction proceedings under California Residential Code Section 17306A. Their story serves as a reminder of the importance of standing up against injustice, fighting for equity, and working together towards creating lasting change. Their legacy will continue to inspire those seeking justice, providing hope and motivation for generations yet unborn. In doing so, they have not only saved their own home, but also served as an exemplar of resilience, empathy, community support, and strategic planning in the face of adversity. Their story serves as a testament to the power of collective action, inspiring countless individuals and organizations across America to prioritize tenant rights and advocate for equitable access to housing. In the heart of a bustling city, Tom and Sarah sat in their dream home, enjoying an early morning breakfast. The sun was shining bright as they sipped on coffee while chatting about plans for the day ahead. As they were finishing up their meal, a knock at the front door interrupted their peaceful moment. To their surprise, Karen walked through their back door and accused them of being squatters in her mother's house. Karen had long been an advocate for affordable housing, fighting tirelessly to secure legal protections for renters. She knew that Tom and Sarah were struggling financially due to unforeseen circumstances like a job loss or unexpected medical bills, making it difficult for them to afford their current rental apartment. Karen was convinced that they would have to leave the property in order to maintain their financial stability. Feeling torn between empathy and justice, Tom hesitated before speaking up. He knew that he had no proof of squatter's claim, but as a tenant with a history of evictions, it was his responsibility to address any concerns raised by Karen. However, Sarah was firm in her belief that they were innocent of the charges. Feeling outnumbered and overwhelmed by Karen's accusations, Tom reluctantly agreed to meet with her at their lawyer's office later that morning. As they sat down together in a cozy apartment across town, Tom listened intently as Karen explained the events leading up to her confrontation. She claimed that she had been walking through the neighborhood early on when she noticed an open house for short-term rentals advertised on social media. After seeing it online and feeling a growing sense of urgency, Karen decided to rent out their old apartment without permission from their landlord. However, upon arrival at their home, she found themselves confronted by Tom and Sarah, who denied any knowledge or involvement in the rental scheme. As they exchanged accusations and deflected questions about their financial situation, Karen became increasingly frustrated with the lack of evidence against them. She felt like a pawn on an unfair game being played by a small group of individuals determined to take advantage of her for personal gain. Despite this setback, Tom and Sarah refused to give up. They knew that EY needed to gather more information about their rental situation before presenting any evidence at trial. As they spent the next few days researching potential cases involving short-term rentals, they encountered a range of legal challenges, from missing lease agreements to disputes with other landlords. Over time, Karen's accusations began to unravel as Tom and Sarah uncovered discrepancies in their records, inconsistencies in her story, and even instances where she had rented out their apartment without the landlord's permission. The evidence against them became increasingly overwhelming, but they remained undeterred in their pursuit of justice. As their legal battle raged on, Tom and Sarah began to gather a team of volunteers from the local community who shared their passion for tenant rights and affordable housing. They reached out to organizations like the California Housing Development Corporation, CHDC, and Legal Services for Immigrants, offering their services as advocates in court and assisting with case management.